Hey everybody, ChristopherOdd here, and in today's video I'm going to try to answer a question I've been getting very frequently as of late. And that question is, how exactly does the character pool work in XCOM 2? So I'm going to cover off what the character pool actually is. I'm going to talk about how to share some of the soldiers that you've created with your friends. I'm going to talk about how to import soldiers that your friends have shared with you. And then I'm going to talk about a couple of I edits that you can make to have a little bit more control over how the character pool soldiers will show up in your campaign. So let's get into it. Before I start talking too much about this, I know some people will be wondering how they can send me their characters so I can put it into my YouTube campaign, and I'll have a video separate from this one on how to do that very shortly, but follow this video to figure out the basic process. So, once we're in the character pool, it's going to look like this for you guys when you first boot it up. It's going to be blank. You have two options: create a character or import a character. So before we even create a character, I'm going to just talk to you about what the character pool is. It's essentially a roster of custom soldiers that you can make, and the game will then draw from that pool at certain times and present those soldiers to you in the campaign. They can come through a multitude of ways. They can be rookies, you can assign specific classes to them, they can show up as VIPs, they can show up as dark VIPs, and a couple of other options. So the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and create a brand new character. We're going to do this very quickly. We'll name our character after somebody very near and dear to our hearts. The name is going to be Peter Van Dorn. You can assign a nickname as well for him. We're going to call him UN Official. And for those of you guys that may want to know this, you have an 11 character limit for the first name and the nickname. For the last name, you can enter 15 characters. So if you want to plan ahead, that is the limit there. You can also go ahead and enter a biography. I would encourage you to do this because it makes these characters have more of like an emotional impact on you, so that when they come up as potential rescues, it makes you really think, like, do I want to just go for the best strategy, or do I want to go for that soldier that I've named after my mother? It makes it a really tough decision sometimes. So let's just give him a quote as his biography. And for those of you that know Peter Van Dorn, you're going to know this one. You the ops team? Get over here. Okay, so the nice thing about creating a soldier from the character pool instead of waiting until you get into the campaign itself is that you have all of the customization options unlocked from the very beginning. So if you go into your props, you can see that everything is available. You don't have to wait to a specific rank to unlock them. You can apply armor patterns if you'd like. You can go ahead and change or add tattoos if that's your thing. And all of the options are unlocked for you. So you have total control in this area, whereas in the game, you have to wait just a little bit to get that. So, being that we've named this character Peter Van Dorn, we should probably change him over to be a male soldier. I could picture him looking like this. So once he's created, we can back out, and you'll see that he's now in our character pool. Anybody that shows up here in this list is what the campaign will draw from. So now let's talk about how to go ahead and share these characters. A couple of options here. Let's go ahead and just select Peter, and you'll notice that a couple of things become available down here. We can delete him, we can deselect all, we can select all, and most importantly, we want to export our selection. You can select just one soldier, you can select multiple soldiers, whatever you want to do, but you're going to want to export that selection. So you're going to be taken to this screen, and this is your Importable Pools folder, which I'll talk about in a second, and it's available in the file system, and I'll direct you to that path. But we're going to create a new pool because we don't have any available. I'm just going to call this one Friends. So let's say that I was going to eventually export a whole bunch of soldiers to this pool and share it with a buddy. This is how I could do so. So now that this is created, we're just going to select the Friends pool. Are you sure you want to copy Peter Van Dorn? Yes, I am. And we've got a successful export. So Peter is now in that pool. So the question comes, how do I get this to my buddy? And I'll show you. So from my desktop, I have a shortcut to the character pool location. And this location is on your PC, in your Documents folder, then My Games, then XCOM 2, then XComGame, and then Character Pool. Within here, you've got your default CharacterPool.bin, and that's whatever you see here. This is just your active roster. What you're looking for is the Importable folder where you've created that Friends file. And this is the file that you'd want to share with your friend. You could email it to them. You could use a link sharing or a file sharing service like Dropbox or Google Drive, anything like that. But that's how you would send that over. Now, when your friend receives the file, what they want to do is this. So let's say that they've sent me youtube.bin, okay? I'm going to take this from my email or one of the file sharing services, and I'm going to go ahead and copy it into my importable folder right here. Okay, so again, that's Documents, My Games, XCOM 2, XComGame, Character Pool, Importable. Now, if we go over here and import a character, we're going to see all of the pools that are available in that folder. So I have Friends and I have YouTube. I'm going to open up the YouTube pool, and these are just YouTube people that have played XCOM in the past or are playing XCOM 2 that I've created already. And I have a couple of options. I can just select individual soldiers if I want. So let's say I just wanted Total Biscuit. So I'm going to bring him in, and now he appears in my character pool. And this is him with all of his Axiom colors, his esports team. But let's say that I'm tired of John Bain and I'm just going to delete him. Fine, John Bain is gone. Now the nicer option and the faster option, if you're importing multiple characters, you just select the YouTube pool and import the entire pool, and everybody shows up in all of their glory in your pool. So you can go ahead and customize them further from here. This is Marbazir. Let's say we wanted to look at Quill 18. This is Quill, and the like. Now, there's an important thing that you're gonna need to do when you create your character or when you import them. And this is really important for how they're gonna show up in your campaign. So let's say for Northern Lion as an example, scroll to the bottom of this first area once you select the soldier. These last 4 lines here are going to determine how he shows up in the campaign. So let's talk about the soldier class option first. You're gonna notice you can choose rookie, or you can choose any of these other options here, like the ranger, the sharpshooter, the grenadier, specialist, or psi operative. You can also have him be a random class. Now, the way that this works is if he's a rookie, he'll show up in your recruitable pool within the campaign. And more often than not, you're gonna put all of your guys as rookies so that they just show up. But if you're very particular and you want somebody to only show up as a sharpshooter as a potential reward or something, you could go ahead and you could choose sharpshooter, and that would make it so that Northern Lion is only going to come in as a sharpshooter. The next 3 options are really fun as well. You can have them appear as a soldier, which is, pretty obvious if you're going to be selecting a soldier class. You can have them appear as a VIP, which is like a scientist or an engineer that you can rescue on any of those missions where you need to go save somebody and then get them to the extraction zone. Those are really fun. And my personal favorite is when they show up as dark VIPs. So imagine you're playing through the campaign and all of a sudden you have the option to go and either assassinate or kidnap Northern Lion. That would be pretty fun for me, and I would probably skip any other mission to make that one happen, just because it would be a lot more fun. And that's the real power of the character pool, actually, is, like I was talking to Jake Solomon about the character pool, and he's really excited about it, as am I. And he was saying that when he plays through, he's got his mother that can show up as a VIP. So he might have a couple of missions pop up, and he's got to decide, well, do I want to counter a really tough dark event and get some intel? Or do I want to go in the mission where I have to rescue my mother, the scientist, and do it for like emotional reasons? And for me personally, like I like to play that way. I like to play with the characters and not always just focus 100% on the strategy layer. And I love that about the character pool, that it will make you make some different choices. At least for me, that's just how I like to play. So that pretty much covers the character pool aspect, but there's another important thing that you're going to want to know about if you want to have more control over how these guys show up into your campaign. The standard way of them showing up is a combination between drawing from your character pool, and the game will also draw from just random soldiers that it makes up, just like Enemy Within and Enemy Unknown. So what you're going to want to do is go into this file path here, and this is Documents, My Games, XCOM 2, XComGame, and then Config. Within here, you're going to want to open up a file called XComGameData.ini. Once you're in here, just hit Ctrl+F and search for character. That's going to take you down to these two lines, which have total control over how the character pool is managed in the campaign. So the first one talks about the initial soldiers that show up in the campaign, and you can have that be one of three options. It's this ECPSM_mixed, which makes it so that it will draw from your character pool and from random soldiers with XCOM generated names. You can switch this to RandomOnly, which will make only random XCOM generated names. Or you can switch it to my personal favorite, which would be PoolOnly. So when I start the campaign, this is the edit that I would make to ensure that all of the soldiers that I've added to my character pool are prioritized over the random soldiers. Now, the next logical question is, well, what happens if over the course of the campaign, all of my soldiers get brought in from my character pool, but I have it on PoolOnly? It will then default back to the random characters that XCOM would generate for you. The second line controls which character pool the campaign is going to draw from for reward units. These can be things like sharpshooters that show up, or just any other soldiers that show up from other means of recruitment outside of just the standard hiring at the armory. So again, you have those three options where it's mixed, where it's the random soldiers and from your character pool. You can go ahead and change this to random only if you want, or again, and my preferred way of handling things would be pool only. So if you want to make sure that you save this file, and that will ensure that XCOM only pulls from your character pool. And that's pretty much it, guys. It's pretty straightforward, I would say. I think the confusing thing will be, how do I share these files with my friends? But now that you have those file paths, you're able to do so. I'll make sure that everything is in the description as well, in case you ever need to come back and look for those data entry values or the file path to find those character pools that you've created. But I really look forward to including as many of you guys as possible in my YouTube playthrough. So I'll be sharing with you guys how to send me your character pool file. And it's going to be really interesting to see some of the creations that people come up with, because you can do a lot of different variations. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know if you have any questions, and we'll definitely see you next time. Bye.
The world you once knew is no more.